Let's go to Xavier in New York.
Hey, Michael, Don, Peter, thanks for having me on today.
You got it.
So last night, obviously it was a terrible loss, and Michael, I'm glad you finally called out Boone for managing a bad game for once, because everything was just very detrimental towards the end. If you go into those last few innings, DJ should not have had any more at bats, and before that 11th inning, he was 0 for 4. So my logic is, why would you let him hit in that last at bat when you could have just brought in Ben Rice in, who...
One second, Xavier. Jesse Winker just hit a walk-off home run, and the Mets beat the Orioles 4-3.
Hey, now.
Please, go ahead.
Watch for the Winker.
Oh, yeah. Congrats, Mets. So I feel like with Ben Rice, he would at least give you a sac fly in that 11th inning, and then that could at least move the runners at least to second and third. And
well, they were at second and third.
No, I think they were at first and second.
Well, what? In the 11th?
Yeah, in that 11th inning.
No. When it was first and let's see. So the inherited runner was Verdugo. Then Wells hits a deep fly ball to right. Verdugo moves to third. Then Anthony Volpe is intentionally walked, steals second. So it's second and third. Infield in, DJ LeMahieu with the plate.
Okay. All right.
But also you're saying go to Rice. Okay, so I understand. Everybody, he's 1 for 19 his last 8 games. His batting average is 188.
Right, I'm not saying he's going to get a base hit, but he can at least hit the ball in the outfield to get us.
But you don't. It's hard for me to argue with you because of the way it turned out.
Right.
And I opened the show by saying I don't know if you could keep playing LeMahieu, but if you don't trust DJ LeMahieu to do it right there, Don and Peter, he shouldn't be playing. If you're going to keep running him out there, you've got to have the faith that he can get a ball through a drawn-in infield or hit a fly ball. If you don't think he can do that, what is his place on the team, Don?
There's no play. That's what I said. You can't put lipstick on a pig. It shouldn't be out there. And again, Boone deserves criticism. But the whole idea, this loss is on Boone. They were 1 for 16 with runners in scoring position. They can't get a big hit. It's not like they're thumpers in the dugout that should be playing. Nobody is hitting outside of the 2 guys. That's it. So I don't know what else you do. Is it Boone's fault Grisham can't round third? That they're kicking the ball around, that they can't get a big hit to save their life. That your pitcher who was on last night is forced to leave the game and is now on the IL. I'm not trying to apologize for Boone, but
and we said Boone, Boone didn't manage a good 12th inning. He didn't manage a good 12th inning. But before that, can you get a hit?
Right. Well, and you know what? All that did is, for all we know, we're still playing. Because the Yankees still couldn't get a big hit to take advantage. Again, everybody's at fault for that loss last night, including Boone. But why can't you be critical of the players? Why can't these guys play to the back of their baseball cards sometimes? Why can't you try to figure out a way with the players that you have to get it done?
Think about it, Don and Peter. Back of the baseball card. Torres is not to the back of a baseball. No, we're not asking for career years. He's not to the back of his baseball card. Verdugo, far from the back of his baseball card. LeMahieu, not even on the back of the baseball card. I mean, I know they missed Jazz Chisholm. I get it. But I'll say it again. We'll all say it again. Soto and Judge, and then nothing. I mean, Volpe has done a little something for them. He's hitting about 250, so you can't dismiss him. But who else is doing their job? Who else is doing their job? You're going to blame the manager. Good, blame him. Listen, when he does something wrong, like pitching to Jose Ramirez, I do blame him. But otherwise, I'm going to blame the players. Hit better. DJ LeMahieu, you got to hit. Gleyber Torres, you're not a 235 hitter. Hit better. Verdugo, you're not a 230 hitter. Hit better. If you hit up to your capabilities, they wouldn't have lost last night. 1 for 16. And I believe they were 1 for 14 against the Tigers in 3 games with runners in scoring position. Yankees play the Guardians tonight. And, we opened up the show talking about some of the things that have gone wrong and some of the moves that, we think that maybe they should make. And one of them was, you've got to think about not playing DJ LeMahieu. Much as I like the guy, he hasn't hit at all year. Now, I know he was hurt at the beginning, but Aaron Boone was asked about it today. And Chris Kirchner of The Athletic tweeted it out. And he was asked, is there any data that you're looking at to suggest that DJ can be a better version of himself? And here's what Boone said. I think there's flashes of, even seeing it in some of his work, man, there's that guy. He's been so good throughout his entire career. I think some of his struggles are also because it's unique to him, because he's always been such a good and gifted hitter. To go through it has kind of worn on him a little bit, so you start making adjustments here and there. That kind of work one time or can throw you off a little bit. It's about continuing to work, and hopefully when the matchup is there, he can take advantage and help us win ball games. Well, we gave you the lineup earlier. He's not in there against a young left-hander. So that tells you that they might have run out of patience. And the thing that frustrates me, because listen, you don't want to say that contracts have anything to do with it, but they do. I mean, this is the big boy world. He has 2 years at $15 million a year left on his contract. But on a team that's built on numbers and analytics, an organization that is beholden to numbers and analytics, Don, Peter, his numbers are dreadful. You can't find numbers that would dictate that you should play him. So the only reason you're playing him is simply because you think that somewhere in there you're going to get the two-time batting champion. It's been a long stretch where he's not that. He has the 8th lowest batting average in baseball. Ground ball percentage is 56.8. He can't lift the ball. I'm sorry. This is one of the best hitters I've ever seen when he was raking. He's not that guy anymore. He's just not. The one thing I always try to read Boone speak, and he said, hopefully when the matchup presents itself, that he'll come through. I don't think they're going to play him a lot. I think at this point the patience has to have run out. I mean, you can only last so long, keep going to a guy and expecting something to change. His analytic numbers, the black and white numbers, tell you he can't hit. Now, I don't know if there's something wrong with him. I'm not quite sure. I like the guy. I hope he can hit again. But the only thing that's given the Yankees a little bit of a leash is that they're in first place. But do you want to win a World Series? Are you going to win a World Series with DJ LeMahieu playing a lot? And, you keep hearing about Anthony Rizzo, who they miss a ton, but Anthony Rizzo still has not been cleared to play. There's still not enough healing in the arm. So your first base situation is LeMahieu or Rice, and Rice is playing today against a left-hander, or as I said earlier, I know that Wells can't catch every single game, but his bat in the lineup has to be there every day. Make him take ground balls at first base. You did that with Ben Rice. Ben Rice is a converted catcher who's done okay at first base. Make Austin Wells play first base when he's not behind the plate. And that solves one of your problems. But I just don't know how you can continue to say to DJ, okay, you're batting 8th or 9th today, go out and do it. He hasn't shown you any ability to do it.
I just don't know how far you want to dig into the numbers, because players it's always fluid. They get older, they get injured. So, the batting titles in Colorado, the borderline MVPs his first couple of years with the Yankees, how does that apply to 2024? Now, Michael, the numbers have really piled up in the negative. I mean, how many years you want to go back where you say these numbers are no longer relevant?
The only thing that they're probably hanging their hat on, Don, the second half of last year he was okay.
Well,
that's it. That's the only thing you can hang your hat on.
But this wasn't a player that was okay. He was the MVP of the team a few years ago. But that's a few years ago.
I think they look at it and go, Ben Rice has won for his last 19. He's hitting 188. But even at that struggle, his OPS is 678. LeMahieu's is 512. You can't keep running that out there.
Now, Max Goldman had tweeted out about Boone's conversation about Alex Verdugo, who's hitting 230.
Verdugo.
With a 649 OPS. I continue to hang my hat on him being such a good hitter and a young man. That hot streak is coming. I mean, how do you base that?
That doesn't sound like an analytic thing. Yeah, a good young man. Okay, great.
I'm glad you brought that up, because he continued. He says, I feel even over the last couple of months, there'll be a week where he's really starting to show that he's lining balls a lot. I do think he's hitting in some tough luck, but he's had some stretches too where it's just kind of been up and down. But, you start throwing out luck, tough luck. I thought those are things that don't apply. The numbers are the numbers.
And well, they apply to them with Babbitt, So they look at the batting average on balls in play, and it should be a certain number. And if it's well below that, they're hitting in bad luck. But I don't want to push back on Boone because he's not listening. If he was talking to us, I'd tell him, I've watched every game. He's not hitting in that bad of luck. He's not hitting. And this is a 2-month stretch. It's a 2-month stretch of Verdugo hitting 186.
And it's also something you can't argue with, right? I mean, Peter's heard me use this analogy before in boxing. There's always that one judge that'll have the card so much different than everybody else, almost as if to say, listen, I see it differently than anybody else could see it. Of course, he knows a lot more baseball than we do. But, I can't argue with him because of that. He's the manager of the New York Yankees, but you see a hot streak. I need more than that. I mean, the numbers are telling you that it's not coming, but he could say, he had good at-bats, he had good swings, he's hit the ball, X amount of velo. They can throw out anything they want to throw out, but when you go a sustained period of time, Michael, not getting it done, for a team that is driven so much by the numbers, I thought that was supposed to be the end-all, be-all. All right, yeah, there's Babbitt and all that, but at the end of the day, I mean, you're talking about guys that aren't getting on base. They're not hitting with any kind of consistency. And it's been going on long enough where you could say, I think this is an issue. And every time he has one good at-bat, say, oh, there it is, it's coming. Well, you say that, and then 2 weeks later, it still hasn't happened. I'm sorry, it's on the table. DJ LeMahieu may be done. Players do expire, Michael. It just happens. Yeah. Careers end.
Especially in baseball, it feels like it just kind of happens.
Exactly. You remember the conversation. Derek Jeter's going to get 4,000 hits. Well, he didn't. Why? Because you get older and then you get banged up and then you're not the same player anymore. The days of Barry Bonds, hitting 60 home runs at 38 are over. Once you get to the north of 34, 35 years old, you start to slip. Now, there's some for every Tom Brady, Michael, there's dozens of guys that they hit a certain age and that's it. This is what they are.